Copywriting versus content writing. Which one do you need? Before we can figure that out, we first need to figure out what is copywriting and what is content writing. Copywriting has the end goal to sell a product or service using the written word, while content writing is about using content to engage with customers, to inform them, and usually give them free of value. So let's get deeper into what is copywriting. Copywriting, again, like I said before, is concerned about selling through the written word, right? So if that's the case, what business purpose does it serve? So for example, ever seen any emails which, once in a while they're gonna be selling a product or service. And they're gonna be telling probably some sort of story, and then near at the end, they're gonna offer you to buy something. Occasionally, I personally get like those emails where they have those like discounts, like 50% off, because now these days with Black Friday coming up. So that is an example of copywriting. Content writing, again, like I said before, is more concerned about providing value for people. Usually it's given for free, and it's just to let people know, learn more about your business, any products or services, give them more knowledge about you, and to help build attention in the marketplace. And getting attention in the marketplace is a very important thing, especially since now we have the internet, and while it has leveled the playing field for most businesses, now because of the introduction of social media these days, it has made getting attention for businesses that much harder. That means in order to be effective on content writing, you need to be posted on a consistent basis. Ideally, you should be doing every day, but a few times a week is a good way to start. A few examples that content writing is used for is usually for Instagram posts, YouTube videos, blog posts, things like that is really all content, right? And you can use content writing for things like blogs, Instagram posts, Facebook posts, articles. So that's an example of content writing. So how does copywriting and content writing come together? Now, usually in the beginning, if you don't know how much you should put out in terms of copywriting, how much time you use to sell, and what is the time you should put out value, you can start with, if you don't know your good ratio between the two, is an 80-20 rule. So that would mean that 80% of the time you are going to put out posts that just gives free value, right? You're not going to be selling anything at that point. It's just free value. It's like putting, think of it like kind of like in a relationship bank, right? Between you and the prospect. So if you put like a lot more in there in the beginning, later on when you're going to ask them, when you're going to sell them to something, they're going to be more inclined because you already built this trust with them already. For example, if you're doing like email marketing, right? So let's say for a month, you put like 4 emails per month, right? So you could do like something like 4 emails, which are all value based, right? It's just focused on just giving value to the prospect. And then on the 5th email, every 5th one, then you can start selling something. Now you could probably put some sort of knowledge or value in that email in itself. And then near the end, you can start selling something, which is again, using copywriting. So why do you need both a copywriting and content writing? If you have content writing without the copywriting, what will happen is that you're going to be giving a lot of value to people, but people are not going to buy anything because you're not telling people to buy things. You're not offering things to sell, and so your revenue is not going to be that great. Now, if you focus too much on copywriting and not enough on content writing, what's going to happen is you're going to face a lot of objections, right? Now, this is not any different, this is a little bit different on the phone, but people are just not going to be more inclined to buy, right? Because you haven't built a trust. They often say that if you ask somebody to sell too much, it's kind of like asking somebody for too many favors. People are not inclined to want to help you out or even listen to you if you ask too much of them. So again, if you don't have a good ratio, to start with the 80-20 rule, right? Majority of time, you should be using 80% content and 20% selling. So how do you know who to hire in terms of copywriting and content writing? So here's the thing. A copywriter could technically do copywriting and content writing, because copywriting, again, we assume that they know how to do it, and content writing is very similar to copywriting, right? It's just a form of giving value. A good competent, copywriter could do content writing, right? Because ultimately, they should know their audience enough, and that's assuming they're a well-trained copywriter. Now, anybody can technically be a content writer, because if anybody's have written essays before, if they've written stories in the past, yeah, anybody could write content, really. But I would think that, a copywriter would have an advantage in terms of knowing how to structure the writing, understanding the customers, things like that will probably give them an edge. Now, not every copywriter will do content writing, right? Maybe they're more focused on, again, selling things through emails, Facebook ads, Instagram ads, YouTube ads, things like that. So it depends on the copywriter. The copywriter could do both, but it depends on the copywriter, depending on what they specialize. Content writing, especially if you're a copywriter, right, considering doing content writing, is that content writing usually is like the lowest profit margin in terms of all the things you could write. Just because, again, it's content, right? It doesn't exactly lead directly to a sale. Now, you still need it, though, to build trust with the customer. Because if you don't have any content, then, it makes a copywriter's job that much more difficult. Because if you try to attempt to sell something, but, there's like no value being built up, no content for people to consume, well, then you're going to be in trouble, right? So in terms of content writing, one of the things I've learned from my mentor, Dan Locke, is the theory of consumption. Now, the theory of consumption is a concept where for every $1,000 you want a customer to spend on you, you need to give them 1 hour of content. So that could be, again, written posts, articles, videos, things like that. A lot of businesses see, the ones, they're not quite good on, marketing themselves online. They tend to have less than 1 hour. And so, again, the more stuff that your prospects absorb, the more trust they'll have you, the more likely they're going to buy your products and or service. So that's something to consider doing, and that's why you need to be consistent on content, right? You can't just put up a bunch of blogs, posts, and then just stop, right? Because eventually people are going to get bored, they're going to go somewhere else, So to keep their attention on you, you have to be consistent with content, especially with content writing in general. By building up value through content writing, it actually makes a couple things, really. A copywriter's job, it makes it much easier for them because, again, as I mentioned earlier in the video, is that people are more trusting of you, so it makes a copywriter's job that much easier to sell something, right? Now, copywriters still should do their job anyways, but content writing does help because, again, it's much easier to sell to somebody who you already established trust with and they already know you versus a stranger. Like, are you going to buy from a stranger? No, of course you're not going to do that. So if you have any questions about copywriting or content writing, comment down below and let me know, or if there are any particular videos you want me to make, also put that in the comments down below. Don't forget to click the subscribe button down below, click on the notification button as well, and also smash the like button for the algorithm.